Hey, this is Jay from Edible Foodscaping, and it's finally warm enough for me to get out here and make some videos. So I thought the first one that I'd start is a little loquat video. So this particular variety here is called a Macbeth, and this is my favorite of the fruits that I've tried so far. And this is also my favorite tree because it's just done so well and performed so well for me. So this particular loquat is 2 years old, and I've got this one planted in an orientation where it gets morning sunlight only. This one gets shade at about noon. What's really nice about the loquat trees is this is pretty much their summertime. So they are a cold weather tropical perennial. So they're going to start to fruit and bloom for you right about this time. It's around January 2nd. So you're going to start to eat the fruit on this towards the end of February, early March, and several of the fruits will hold on until the end of March. So you'll be eating these for quite a while. Now what's really great about these fruits is they're just so amazing tasting. So these taste kind of like an apricot and a plum. If you kind of put them both in your mouth together and tasted them together, it's got the flavor of an apricot and it's got the juiciness of a plum. So these are a really, really, really great plant. Now there's several varieties of these, and I've gotten several on the property here, and I've got them all planted in different orientations so we can get the best success out of any particular tree when I go to plant these on your property. So this is more or less a Behringer test facility. We test all these different fruit trees here before they go out into the valley, more or less. So this is a really, really nice specimen, and you can see he's really filled in. And he's a really good particular size considering the fact that they start so small and they grow so slow. So he is in really good shape. You can see he's nice and green, doesn't have any salt burn, doesn't have any leaf desiccation from not enough water. These do require a fair amount of water, and like I said before, they grow really, really slow, so they keep these leaves for a really long time. So you want to really take care of this plant, otherwise it'll start to look pretty beat up by the end of the summer. Now, I've been using a new product on this particular loquat that I'll be going over in another video, along with some of my other products that I'm going to be launching here in the spring. And this particular product, I make this out of fish. So it's an organic, more or less an organic fertilizer, and I call this the Bloomerator Rooterator 2000. No particular reason for the name other than I thought it was cool. So I've been testing it on this plant. This is going to give you somewhere in the area of 0, 10, 10, so you're not going to burn your plant. And you can see what it's done as a test trial to this plant. Look how many blooms are on this plant. He's got this leaf set, this bloom set here, one here, 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 back here. He's forming some new ones here, here. He's got a big group here, some here, new group here, forming a new set here, big group here, and you can see the bees just love these plants. A big set here, another big set here, and then it will form sets all on the top of the crown like it's starting to here. So this is a pretty easy plant to grow in the valley. We would consider this a tier 2 plant. The exception, the difficulty being the fact that it needs some shade protection. These will actually grow quite well in really dark areas or even full shade, like I have a few of these, and they'll bloom and fruit just fine. So this is a really good plant for a shady area of the garden that's nice and protected, and you don't have to worry about the cold. Absolutely no frost damage at all whatsoever, and you'll just have to give them a little bit of shade protection in the summertime, especially when they're smaller, to kind of limp them through the summertime. So this is one variety here. We're going to go over a couple different varieties. This is one that I got at Lowe's. Like I said before, this is called a Macbeth. It's very hard to find these. They do carry these at the box stores occasionally. Seamus O'Leary's is a really good place if you would like to pick these trees up. He has several varieties of these that look really, really great. I've got a couple that I was sent from a friend that I'm going to trial on this property, and we'll go over some of those here in just a moment. Okay, so this is another variety. This one is called an Aunt Hildy, and this is one of the varieties that I got sent from a friend. And so you can see about the size that these start with. This is usually about the size you're going to get them. They're going to be about 3 or 4 feet tall, and they're going to be just a single stem trunk stick, more or less. And this particular variety I have planted almost in the full shade. This one doesn't receive any direct sunlight at all whatsoever, so this is kind of a trial to see how he does. I think he'll do well just fine here because I've had a couple other that are over underneath the canopy screen where they stay nice and dark. I said before, the only thing that you really need to do to protect these guys is just give them a little bit of summer protection. So this one is called an Aunt Hildy, and eventually I'll be propagating a few of these from seed, because most of the loquats are actually grown from seed because it's very difficult to graft loquats. So this is another variety here, and we'll go over a couple more. And here we have another variety. So this one is called a Gold Nugget, and this is one of the first ones that I've planted. So this guy, he's about 1.5 years old, maybe 2 years old, and you can see how much taller that this one has gotten. So this one I can't even reach the top. Now this one is growing underneath my shade canopy that I have in the back, so he pretty much had filtered sunlight for at least the first year, but then I had to take some of the canopy away to let some of the other trees through, so then he started getting a lot of that afternoon sun. So I wanted to show you kind of an issue that the loquats get, and this is kind of the effect that they get from too much afternoon sun and not enough water during those periods. So this is what's called leaf desiccation, and so the leaf starts to dry back from the very tips first, and it starts to grow up and grow up and grow up and give you kind of like a topographic map of the damage that's been done to the plant. Now I'm not worried about this plant because eventually he's going to adapt through this here in the next year or so, and so he'll shed all these old leaves and he'll grow a new set. But I was noticing the other day he has also gone into his bloom set, so he must not be stressed too bad. I'm just going to keep an eye on him and give him a little bit of extra water when it gets hot. So he should be fruiting here real soon too. So this is called the Gold Nugget, and this is one of the most common varieties that you'll be able to find. Okay, now this is another variety. This is another one of the selections that I got sent from a friend to trial, and this is called a Silver Bullet loquat. And this one came real nice and healthy and pretty good size to begin with, but since I planted him about 2 weeks ago, he's already gotten some new growth since then. Now I have this one right next to a wall, so even in the summertime, no matter what, his root zone will still be shaded. So the shade comes out about 1.5 feet from this wall, and will no matter what shade the root pack, because that's what I'm the most concerned about on this tree. So he's going to be protected by this wall, even though a lot of people think that they don't want to plant next to walls because there's too much heat from the wall. Well, this wall stays shady on this side, so there's no worries on this particular plant. And he is shielded till he reaches the top of this wall, which will be about the 6-foot point. And once he's reached that size, then he's adapted, and you'll have no problems with him above this particular wall. So this is called a Silver Bullet, and this is a new variety that I received. Okay, now this is another variety. So this is called a Big Jim loquat, and I planted this one about the same time as I did the Macbeth. And this particular plant only gets afternoon shade, or afternoon sun, I'm sorry. So this one starts to get sun at about 2 o'clock, and then he gets the terrible, terrible afternoon sun. And you can kind of see the effect that it's done on this plant. So you can see that the actual branch sets have been defoliated quite a bit here. And he's stressed because he doesn't like too much of that afternoon sun until he gets a little bit more established in this plant. But he still looks pretty good. He's a little stressed, but he's going to pull through it. And in fact, like I said, this is their summertime, so he's got lots of new growth started. So every one of these terminal tips, he's started to grow again. And on some of these, he's actually starting to bloom and set fruit again. So there should be no issues with this plant this year. He should start to fill in nicely and adapt more to that afternoon sun. But this is never a place that you want to put these in, especially when they're little tiny babies, because it's going to be a lot harder to get them through the hot summers that we have. And they really don't like wind. And the front yard here gets substantially more wind than the backyard because the backyard's shielded in by walls. We get quite a bit out here. We've got quite a bit of a wind today, and that really dries the leaves on loquats and starts to curl them under and deform the leaves. So this is what happens from too much wind damage. Is the leaf will start to curl under like this and not fully flatten out and go turgid. So this is another variety, so I want to show you guys definitely the pros and cons of this plant. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. I've got more of these trees probably than any other tree. So, okay, so once again, new varieties, and I'm also in the front yard. So I've got only the one loquat in the front yard so far, and it was called a Big Jim. And I noticed that he was getting kind of lonely out there all by himself. So I thought I'd give him some ladies to hang out with. So let's go over these selections. This is where I started to name the trees. Okay, so this particular one, this is Laura. Meet Laura. So Laura is a Gold Dragon variety. Then we come to the next one. This one here. This is Leslie. And Leslie is a champagne variety. Come down one more. So now this is Leola. And Leola is a butterball variety. This one here, this one I named Lacey. Lacey's a loquat, so Lacey is a full moon variety. Down one more. Now meet Lisa. And Lisa is a Flying Dutchman variety. Down one more. Now this one I named Lee, and Lee is a kamikaze variety. And then down here on the corner, this last one is Lily, and Lily is a Santa's Gift variety. And then I decided to stick one more out here on the side so they can also have another guy to hang out with. So this is Fat Joe, and Fat Joe is a tiramisu variety. So this concludes the loquat tour, and as you can see on my small property, I have quite a few of these. And so this is one of my absolute favorite fruits, and it's also one of my favorite looking trees. I mean, these are beautiful, and they're evergreen, so it's going to keep these leaves throughout the year. It's got these big, beautiful leaves, and as long as you take care of them, give them plenty of water, and giving them summer shade, they'll do well for you down here. This is a great performing tree, one of the best tasting fruits that we have. So go out there and get you a loquat, guys. If not one, get 7.